you grew up in a Hindu home, right? How did you then make this transformation into what you call an evangelical Catholic?
You know, I'd love to tell you I had a sudden epiphany. It wasn't that easy. You know, some people, it really is easy. You know, they get hit over the head, and I think that's great. For me, it was a 7-year process. It started when I was a young child, when my best friend gave me my very first copy of the Bible. And I wish I could tell you I loved it and I appreciated it. I was completely upset. I would have given it back. I would have returned it, except he had my name printed on the front cover. It was a NIV student Bible, one of those paperback Bibles you can get at a lot of Christian bookstores. There are a few key moments. My grandfather passed away a little while after that, after I got in the Bible. It was the first time I'd ever thought about what happens after this life. And it was also, he died suddenly. He had a stroke. So I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to him. I didn't have a chance to tell him I loved him. It was my first time to think, you know, what's really important in life? If there is a heaven, how do you get into heaven? You know, is it about money? Is it about material things? Is it, you know, does God grade on a curve? Or how does this work? I'd always prayed. I'd always believed in God, but I always had, for me, it was almost like God was Santa Claus. You know, it was one of those prayers where it was, dear God, just give me an A in history, and I'll be good to my little brother. Or give me my favorite toy, and I'll never ask you for anything. And I was always breaking my promises. And a lot of us pray that way. If we're really honest with ourselves, we want our favorite football team to win, or we want to get a promotion at work, or we want, and you know, the problem with that was it was a transactional, it was just a relationship based on I want this, and I'll be good if you give me that, and vice versa. There were several people that witnessed to me, and I was a frustrating, look, I was not the poster child, because I constantly was stubborn, constantly had questions. The first time I read the Bible, it was overwhelming to me. It's not that I walked away immediately grasping what was so important about it. There were 3 critical turning points. One, I met this woman with an incredible faith. And I remember there was something about her. She wasn't a theologian, she wasn't an apologist, but I remember seeing her and other Christians like her and thinking there is something in their lives that is missing in mine. I couldn't articulate it, it wasn't tangible to me. I'd later realize it was the Holy Spirit. It was a sense of purpose and love and peace, and I knew I wanted it. Second thing that happened to me was I was at my best friend, the one that gave me the Bible, invited me to come to his church. And I went there, they were doing a musical. In the middle of it, he wanted me to hear him sing. So I said, sure, I'll come do that. In the middle of it, they showed a little film, nothing fancy. Black and white film where there was an actor playing Jesus being crucified. Now, we've probably seen 1,000 better movies. It was black and white, no famous actors, the camera was probably shaking. But for some reason, when I saw the actor on the cross, God chose that moment to hit me harder than I've ever